everybody. I'm Anita Finley. I'm your host for Zoomer Times and TV, and we have our star, Roberta Hladek, who is, of course, with the AIM program, and she's been on for many years, as well as her organization. And I just have to tell you that we have become friends, but she's so smart. I love to talk to her. And today, we're going to talk about, well, of course, she calls in from Las Vegas, and she's not one of those, not one of those tables, you know, helping you to gamble. She lives in, I guess, northern Las Vegas.
Well, we're actually in the southern part.
Oh, you're in the southern part.
I guess.
I see.
Call us. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm about 20 minutes from the Strip.
Okay, from the Strip. Okay, so I was telling Roberta that I went to a friend's house last night who, actually the physician, he's retired now, but he had a friend, well, not a friend, but some couples who lived there, and one woman was very sick, but her husband wasn't so sick, but somehow they both got COVID, and they were in their, I guess, in their 80s, and he went to the hospital and he died, and now she's alone. And we were talking about death, and I said, I don't like death. And we went over that with him. And he said, he told me a few things, and he brought up and the fact that I felt so close to Wayne Dyer as you did, because we knew him, and you knew him a lot more than I did. But he showed me a very short video that Wayne did, shows a sailboat in a big ocean, in a sailboat, and as the sailboat goes, and he talks about death, and the sailboat's gone, but it's not really gone, and that's what he was equating death to.
Aw.
Very beautiful. You'll have to look that up sometime. Just look on YouTube for Wayne Dyer and death, I think. But the other thing was, I think this came from, I'm going to read it to you. I thought he said, this was in one of his books, and now I can't really remember. It was the end of the calendar, December 31st. That's what it says. Know that there is no death, that all life is indivisible, that the here and hereafter are one, that time and eternity are inseparable, that this is one unobstructed universe. We are citizens of eternity. That's your kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the way we kind of feel too. And I kind of, you know, with Stephen's passing, which was, he was a very close friend with Wayne.
Yes.
He and Wayne were very close. And I met Wayne on several occasions, and he was an extraordinary human being. When you were around him, you got energy. And there are times where, you know, some people say that don't believe in this, so I have to walk lightly on this one. But I can feel Stephen's presence since he's passed away, which was about 4 years ago. And I can still, there are times when I'm testing, which that torch was passed to me when Stephen passed away, because I had been training with him for 20 something years. There are times when I'm testing and the computer will just go blank. It'll just go down. And I can hear him in my head going, you have to focus. And I'm like, now you just destroyed everything I've been working on, and I got to start again. So I think it doesn't happen as often, but sometimes I think that when I'm working, that he is present and he's helping me from the other side with other information. And a lot of people don't believe in that, and that's okay too. But to me, it's more comforting, I guess, to know that there is something, or, you know, another place out there maybe. I'm not really afraid of death. I don't really particularly like it. You know, when people that are very near and dear to me pass away,
right.
It's not fun. It's heartbreaking and all that. And if you look at it from like Wayne's point of view or Stephen's point of view, they always said, well, we're just gone from the physical, but we're still here on another level.
Yep. And you know, and there are many times that I we'll be doing something and I'll say to Bill, I'll say, well, I know it, you know, I need to think about what you used to say to me, and I'm, you know, I got to get into that and get it into my brain, or I look at his picture and I say, okay, and this was a wonderful thing, and let's, so it's not like he's there with me in a way, but his memories and the things he said always remain. That's the way it is, right?
Yeah, it's kind of have a connection to that energy. And I think it's a real thing. And I'm always into looking into it. And some people will say, like, when they're on AIM and a loved one transitions, and they'll say, but you still found a life force in them. How can that be? And there was a pastor that still works with us as a facilitator, and he was still an incredible guy. And I worked with him when I went to Colorado a few times, and he was just extraordinary. And he wrote a little article for us, and it was about finding life force in someone who has transitioned, and it was about that energy. And when Stephen and I would check life force, like for instance, we did a test when his mother passed away, and we thought, let's see how long the life force stays there. How long does it take before?
Wow.
Because a lot of people think that once someone some bell goes off and lets us know, or when I'm testing them, it goes to 0 right away. It doesn't. Their energy stays there, and their life force gradually goes down, but it takes a long time. And we were watching his mother, who had been on AIM for a very long time. And when she passed away, we kind of got bored testing, but it was about 4 months before.
Oh, I am just amazed. This is exciting stuff you're talking about today.
So it was kind of interesting because it took a while for her to go down. What happens is when we're testing something that they're balancing, some frequency, that frequency stops at that particular point. And if we measure how long that frequency has, it'll stay. Like, say we measure, I'm just throwing out a number here, but say the frequency measures at a 200 and it just stops there. And so it doesn't go any further. It doesn't go away. It just stops. And that lets us know that, you know, their energy is there, but they're not playing it. They're not really healing that, but everything has kind of stopped. But the life force doesn't plummet to 0, which a lot of people think it does. So when I'm testing, I don't test if someone's alive or dead. I don't do that. So when I'm testing someone, and if they happen to have transitioned, there are times when someone will call me and say, hey, you know, my dad passed away last week. How come he still has a life force? And I explain that to them. And it's really more comforting to them too.
Of course.
And there's a lot of people too that ask their loved ones on the AIM program until their program is finished. And some even want to put on after continue their program, which we don't know. Does it help? We don't really know. No one's come back to tell us, you know, what happened or what. But it is interesting, and sometimes I think it's more comforting to know that, because there's also times when, like my mom, when my stepfather passed away of cancer, she said, but he was on AIM. And I'm like, well, Mom, you know, he could have died. It was his time, you know. And I always think that is the truth, that we all have a time on this when we finished our work on how we transition. Another thing, but I told her he would have transitioned one way or the other. Maybe it would have been on the golf course. He loved to play golf. Or maybe it would have been something else, but it was just his time up, you know. So some of those things I find, and it was comforting to my mom to hear that. So sometimes I think it makes us more comfortable. But I still feel some of their presence sometimes, like my stepfather. There's times when I'll be doing something, I'll go, hey, Cecil, what would you do in this position? Right. I got a problem. What do I do? And it's all of a sudden, it's clear to me, and you go, this is exactly what I should be doing, right? Should I buy this? Or, you know, he was really good with me with, you know, cars and big purchases. You know, I go, I need a new car. And he'd say, no, you don't. You know, so there was always kind of, I guess I feel it's more comforting to think that way. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Maybe there's someone that has a better idea on it, but I don't know. That's my thoughts.
I love those thoughts. That's not something we've ever talked about before. How long did Steve, his energy stay? Life force?
It stayed up for quite a while. Exactly how long I kept testing him, but then I guess, you move on, and I couldn't after a while. But it was interesting because it was a while, like 5 or 6 months.
It would have been interesting to check on Wayne also.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. It's been so long ago that I don't really remember how.
Yeah.
He probably did, knowing him.
Right, exactly. Well, so I think you've talked, though, above some people's heads who don't understand what life force is. Why don't you back up a little bit so that everybody can appreciate this and talk about the AIM program. And the first thing that happens is you test for the life force and what that is.
Yes, life force is a number from 0 or less than 0 to 100. 100 is our optimum life force, and it's a number that we kind of coined. And what we do is we test what your inner strength is. That's what life force is. It doesn't mean you're healthy or not healthy. It's just your inner strength to overcome adversity, stresses, colds, flus, whatever. It's just our inner strengths. Some people call it your chi. Some might call it prana, all those different words for it. We call it life force. And that's your inner strength, your push. What does it take for you to get through every day? What is your life force going to be? So when we test a person coming on the program, now they've been from 0.3 zeros and a 4. Some have come in this morning. I tested some that came in at a 0.1, which is good. They used to be up in the 40s and 50s many years ago when we first started the program. But as you're on the program and you clear out your energetic baggage, we call, your life force starts to rise. And as it rises, you become stronger, of course. Your inner strength, it takes less energy to get through some of these things that we deal with on a daily basis. And then your optimum is 100. At 100 doesn't mean that you're never going to get sick or anything like that. It just means your inner strength is really strong so that you have the energy to push through things that are adverse to your daily life. Maybe it's stress. Right now, everybody is stressed with elections coming up. We've got COVID numbers shooting the moon again. All of this negativity that's being thrown at us on a daily basis, it's hard to stay positive. So our life force pushes us and keeps us, at a high level of expelling or dispelling these things and keeping them out of our sphere and keeping us strong and our immune system up, which is important.
And that's excellent. Thank you. That cleared up anybody that has not understood it. It is, and that's all done through a special computer test that has been developed by this organization over the years. And of course, Roberta is in charge, and she continues to do this, and it's very exciting for her as she always comes on. You can hear her enthusiasm. But let's just talk about the COVID. So are there people joining this to prevent their getting seriously ill, do you think?
Yes. We, when we started hearing about COVID, which was, the first I heard it was like the beginning of December. So I started investigating and testing and adding frequencies to help us to dispel any kind of deal with it. Not meaning that we would never get it, but if we did get it, which I probably will all get it at some point, I think. But how long does it take us to get over it? And what does it do to our system? Are we able to get rid of it? I mean, I've talked about my mother, who's 92, who contracted COVID, and she only had it for days. And in fact, when she went to the doctor. The doctor asked her why she was there. And of course, my mother, she said, well, my son made me come. So, but she just had the fever, she had a little bit of a cold, and she thought it was just going, she lived in Arizona, she thought it was going from the air conditioning to the outside to the air conditioning, which is a normal thing that happens during the summer because it's so hot out. But she then ran a fever of 103, which is a little high. She doesn't have any pre-existing conditions. She's very strong. She's been working with me in the AIM program since like 1988.
Oh my.
So she used to work for us in the office, retired, and she's always been really into what we do and understands it better than anybody I know. And so when I called her and I said, take some aspirin, Mom, and then a brother who lives nearby to make sure he could take her. Otherwise, I was going to be driving 4.5 hours to go get her and take her. But he was able to take her, and she was tested, and it was a long time before test results back, but this was back in July. But she only had, when she went to the doctor then, he saw her, it was like 5 p.m. She had no fever, her chest was clear, her sinuses were clear. You know, he couldn't understand why she was there. Blood pressure was great. She had no issues. So they did a test just to confirm or deny what was going on with her. And I think about 14 days later, they told her she had been positive. And luckily, she stayed quarantined during that time. But she didn't have, and knock on wood, she has not had any issues. She swims 2 hours a day. She
2 hours a day?
Yeah, she goes to the pool. It's a social thing with them. She goes to the pool and she uses a noodle, those plastic things, and she treads water for a couple hours while they all chat and talk about what's going on, and then she goes home. But she does that. Now it's getting cooler, so she said last night she didn't go, but it's more of a social thing. You know, they meet at the pool. So, and it's a huge pool, so they are social distancing and all that. She's just doing fabulous. So this goes to show you that we do have the frequencies on there. We haven't had, knock on wood again, very many participants contact me and say they do have it. I'm sure they're out there. We just haven't heard from them maybe. I don't know. But our program is working fabulous because I've noticed that some of the folks that have contracted it have gotten over it pretty quickly. Those with pre-existing conditions have a little bit harder time, obviously. So, you know, we just have to continue keeping our program as current as possible. And that's my job, is making sure that I come across anything new and try and keep our frequencies on there and keep them added, because it does help stresses and anything helping we want to keep our immune system optimum, keep them working on a high level so that we can ward off this. And if we do get it, how long does it take us to get over it? That's the true test.
So your mother's 93 and she doesn't have high blood pressure or asthma, nothing?
No. She doesn't
That's
have
amazing.
with one of her eyes, that she takes some kind of vitamin for her eye. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there is some good stuff I know. So let me ask you, pursuing this is wonderful information that you've told us. So for instance, I've been on AIM for a long time now. I have preconditioned, you know, they're not bothered by high blood pressure. I take medication and I have some asthma from time to time, but you're saying that you have this on the computer so that it's protecting me too.
Absolutely. We have a lot of frequencies that I've added, different well, we have the frequencies, and then we have like what we'll call sub-frequencies, frequencies that are similar to that. It doesn't mean we actually have that frequency, but we have frequencies that are similar to it to help us to combat anything and help us build our immune systems. So that's basically what I have on the program, are these different things. And I've also tried some different remedies. different Bach flowers and different things too to help us, and I have those transmitting as well. But when I get back to your original question, when you said, are people coming on the program because of that? Yes. Scary. It is definitely, if you watch the news, I chose to not watch it anymore because it's just, I can't. But do watch the news. It's like we're going to die tomorrow. I mean, it's pretty scary. And so I just choose to not watch it. But a lot of coming on the program that are concerned about their children, concerning about themselves, coming back on the program. We've had a surge of a lot of participants who have come back to the program, and then a lot of new participants coming on the program of all ages, and from all over the world. We've had from all over people coming on the program. And I honestly think it's a really good self-care tool to have in our self-care toolbox.
Yes.
The AIM program is very helpful to us in the immune system. I also, tell people to continue taking your medications, continue taking your vitamins, whatever it is that you do, continue, but add the AIM program as another protocol to help you. So that's what our participants are doing. And, I try to believe that we are helping humanity here. And I wish more people would come on the program, because I think maybe it would lower our numbers. I don't know. But we do
it's
need
the only program out there like this. So, I mean, there's nothing else other than voodoo stuff. But I mean, this is tried, and even though we can't say it's proven, it is, but it isn't. I mean, people say, well, do you have statistics? Well, yes, but it's really something that's been around for a long time, and all of us feel that it has made a difference. As a matter of fact, and let me just do this. My guest is Roberta Hladek. And if you want more information, it's very simple. Go on the web to aimprogram.com, AIM program.com, and you'll see all about it. But I wanted to also tell you that I've had my dog, Jack, on this. When I got him, he has congestive heart failure. But he was much different than he is today. I mean, maybe it's love. I mean, I know it's the AIM program. I know that he's hardly even hear him now. He used to have coughs. He used to do all that. I do give him sardines with his as a treat with his medication, and I think the sardines are good. But there definitely is a difference with him, and I think he will live now. Because he's on what they call hospice. The rescue I go to has a hospice plan, and that's when I got him. That he could live a month, 6 months, a year. We don't know what's going on a year. And he is much better.
Aww.
So I have to attribute that to the AIM program.
That's so cute too.
I just have to tell you that. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is I just was on a webinar. I'm on the board of directors of a hospital foundation, and a lot of the doctors were talking. And one doctor said, make sure that vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc are all very good things to take.
Definitely. That's what I've heard too. And we've started, personally, I've had my mom, my family, taking zinc every day, and I take a vitamin D and K2 supplement and a lot of vitamin C. And some people don't like taking the tablets, so I've told them, my family anyway, I sent my mother, VitaFusion makes a chewable vitamin D and a vitamin C. So I sent her those, and she keeps them in the refrigerator, and they stay kind of chewy, and she loves them. She said it's much easier for her to take them that way than this.
And what's it called?
VitaFusion.
VitaFusion. I see.
Yeah, they have a vitamin C, they have vitamin D, and they have a whole array of vitamins, but and they have multivitamins too, but they're chewables, and they're gummy bears, little gummies.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. That's really great. And I have elderberry, There are chewable elderberries. I hear elderberries also very good.
Yes, definitely. That's a good one too. So if we keep these in our little toolbox, it really
Yes.
does help us.
Along with AIM, we should come out of this, and one thing we do have to do is what you said earlier, Roberta, distance yourself, wear a mask.
Yes.
You know, so it's a matter of don't play games with it, because I do go to, I walk Jack around and I see in some of the restaurants, people are not paying attention, and that's bad.
Yeah, we need to take care of ourselves and those around us. So keep the distancing, keep your mask on. There's some really cute little masks you can get, you know. It's hard to wear them. I understand. I'm not a fan of the mask, but at this point in time, that's what we've been told that we need to do. So let the experts tell us what to do, and just get it done, and let's get over this and get back onto our lives. But
Yeah.
yeah, keeping the
Well,
mask on and keep cleaning, you know, wiping off the surface all the time, light switches, bathrooms, and we can beat it.
yeah. The interesting thing down here, of course, is still hot, but in some of the northern places, it's already starting to get, you know, snow, cold. I see that people are wearing, you know, when you see them out there, you know, on the internet and all, it is getting cold. So you don't have that yet. You're still pretty warm. Are you 70?
Well, it's last days got really, usually we find that Halloween is the make or break day. So it's either really nice or it's really cold. But it was about 56 when I left for work this morning. So it has gone down about 30 degrees, I guess. So today it's going to be, I think, 80, 75, something like that. Told me, I don't know off the top of my head, but it's been chilly. We've been wearing jackets. We put the flip-flops away, and we're having now.
Well, yeah, so people are going to, unfortunately, they're going to start to go inside a lot and be together. That's the one danger. That's what they're saying. So you can be inside, but you just have to distance. I went out to dinner last night at someone's home. I don't do this often, but people who I know, that telling you this, the retired doctor and his lady friend, and we sat on separate couches. We didn't touch or hug, you know, and they're very clean. In fact, when you walk into their condo, they take your temperature.
Wow.
And you know, we only are, we're because we know each other and we know we're clean, we're okay, but it's still 2 to an elevator, and their people are, their organization, that condo, is very strict about, even much more than mine is. And I think if we do that, you know, it's, look, people say, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm suffering. No, you're not. Let's talk about what people did during the war and during the Depression. There was a lot of suffering. Let's just, you know, we can read more books or do more things, and you still talk to people. Look at us, we're Zooming and we're talking to people. We, you know, it's fine, right?
Yeah, we just have to find different ways. And I think this has done a lot for us. And, you know, you always have to look for the silver lining, right? So I know it's changed a lot in my life. My other half is a musician. So he hasn't worked since the 1st of March.
Oh,
So,
really?
and with live music, who knows if it's going to come back. So he's looking at other aspects of income, to different types of work that he can do. He does a lot of internet stuff. Now he has a couple other businesses, but still, you know, a musician is what he does. So there's a lot of people that are being hit by this that we don't really realize how hard they're being hit. And that's his livelihood. That's what he's done for 30 something years. He's been a musician. So it's really, you know, so we're learning different ways to do things. I know that we don't eat out hardly at all. If we do, it's bringing food home, going through a drive-through for a restaurant.
Right.
And he's been around more, so it's been nice for me, because he is gonna, maybe he'll be around New Year's Eve. Who knows? It might be the first time he had New Year's Eve. Who knows? But
what instrument does he play?
He Yeah,
What,
you
what
got
does, what,
of what.
what does he play, Roberta?
He's a drummer.
He's a drummer. Oh my goodness. So that's, well, we're running out of time. This has been so wonderful. I've learned a lot from you today. I think this has been just terrific. Every time, it's funny, we've talked so often and yet there isn't a show. It was the same way, you know, every time we talk, I just know that I'm going to learn more. And my hat's off to your mom. I have to tell you, tell her I said hello. I know we did something on her one day too. I knew we wrote an article. So it's
We
time
did.
for another article. Send me
Yeah.
something that I think what we talked about today was pretty interesting. You might
It
want to throw some of that on about the life force. That was very interesting.
We will.
Okay, well, aimprogram.com, everybody. Please do go there, and this could be what you've been looking for. Let's just say that this is the answer, and then you just stay on it for the whole year, even after it goes off, and it's worth it, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye,
Yeah,
bye,
I
Anita.
appreciate you. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.